I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Terrance Woods Jr. Terrance Woods Jr. was a 27-year-old producer from Maryland. Disappeared on October 5th, 2018, while filming in the remote Nez Perce National Forest in Idaho. As of February 2026, which is today, February the 6th, 2026, he remains missing, and his case is considered active but cold. Woods was working as a producer for the London-based production company Raw TV on a Discovery Channel series titled Gold Rush, Dave Turin's Lost Mine. While the 12-person crew was wrapping up filming at the abandoned Penman Mine near Ora Grande, Woods reported told a colleague he needed to use the bathroom. He told his colleagues he needed to use the bathroom while they were wrapping up. Witnesses, including associate producer Simon G., claim Woods suddenly dropped his two-way radio and ran at a high rate of speed down a steep 15-foot embankment in the dense forest. Crew members attempted to pursue him but quickly lost sight of him. Despite a subsequent massive search involving scent dogs, helicopters with thermal imaging, and ground teams, no trace of Woods, no clothing, blood, or footprints was ever found. Let's talk about the conflicting theories. The case is marked by a deep divide between the official narrative and the beliefs of Woods' family. Let's talk about the authorities and productions. The Idaho County Sheriff's Office suggested Woods may have suffered a sudden mental health crisis or mental breakdown, leading him to run away and eventually succumb to the elements or fall into one of the area's many abandoned mine shafts. Now, the family. His father, Terrance Woods Sr., vehemently disputes the mental health theory, stating his son had no such history. He believes the story of Woods running off a cliff in unrealistic and suspects foul play or mistreatment by the crew. Now, it was said that Terrance was the only African-American male on the crew of a 12-person crew. So the family points to a text Woods sent to his father earlier that day saying he was coming home early, as well as the fact that his belongings were found neatly folded in his luggage with no dirty clothes, which they find highly unusual for someone 4 days into a trip. This is the current status. The case is technically open, but there are currently no active searches being conducted unless new leads emerge. Ongoing advocacy. The family continues to seek answers through private investigators and media campaigns, including coverage on podcasts like Dateline, Missing in America. How to help. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Idaho County Sheriff's Office. All right. So that's all that's said about Terrance Woods. Now, this was a popular case. I did not watch any podcasts on this yet. Okay. I am just coming on here, typing up his name, reading what's under the AI mode, which you can also read for yourself when you look up Terrance Woods Jr. You'll see the same thing I just read. Okay, that's all I need to tap into the energy. I'm going to stop watching all these 1,001 podcasts. I'm a high-ranking Astro Oracle investigator. I don't have to watch all these podcasts. But it does help, but I don't need them. Just like I used to log on, and y'all remember when I used to light my candles? I am going to get some more candles, okay? But the more I do this thing, the more I realize I am very raw and uncut. Like, I'm raw. I could just log on, pull cards, bam, this is what happened. And I'm not being arrogant. I can see myself and I can see the craft. I can see it at work through me. Although I love props, I like the candles, and you know, I may even invest in a crystal ball. Just I like the polished up look of things. I'm currently working on a trident artistically. I'm working on that project over here in the basement. I'm in my basement right now. So I'm in a large room on one side of my basement, which is my studio. Okay. But I'm also working on this large trident that I'm making. Y'all know what a trident is? I'm working on a trident, okay, that I'm making just for props. It's gonna be a huge one too. It's really tall. But I'm gonna decorate it and, give it power, pray over it, speak over it, do rituals over it, give it power. I'm very intense. My spirituality is very intense. Okay, and then the spirit is gonna show me what this trident is going to be used for. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see where the spirit is going to take me with that. Just as excited as I was to see where the spirit took me with all these decks of cards that I was inspired and led by my spirit team to create. Astro Oracle being one of them, which is my OG. This is going to tell the whole story. All of my cards are designed to serve me for specific information I'm looking for. And right now I'm going to pull 4 cards. And this is going to help me understand what happened to Terrance Woods Jr. In front of me, I have Terrance Woods' date of birth, and I have the date that he was last seen, the day he disappeared. Despite the stories that were told, we're going to get down to what really happened. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my investigations. In 4 cards, my spirit wasn't led to pop out that card. Normally, whatever card pops out, I take it. But my spirit did not lead me to take that card. So that's why I put it back. In 4 cards, what happened to Terrance Woods Jr.? October 24th, 1991 was his birth, and he disappeared October 5th, 2018. What happened to Terrance Woods Jr.? October 5th, 2018. In 4 cards. What happened to Terrance Woods Jr.? October 5th, 2018. Well, there's definitely a lot of foul play. 3 cards came out in reverse. Okay? And then 1 card came out, an event, a 10th house event. That's a public event that has a lot to do with his career. Okay? Because keep in mind, he was a TV, what was he? He was he was a television producer. I want to make sure I get it right. He was a television producer. So he was very dealing with exposure. Television, producer, all of that. That's 10th house. That's his 10th house event. Okay? Now, a first house person came out in reverse. A 6th house event, which is an employment issue, an employment affair, something that has to do with his health and his work, came out in reverse. This event came out in reverse. Could have been a sickness. And then the 4th house place came out. This is home and family. This could have been where he was living at, where he was staying at. This could be a home issue too. Because he did say he called his father and said he was coming home early. This home card came out in reverse. So we're going to elaborate on what this means. Now, I'm going to pull from my Talk About It deck. This is going to tell me all about it. Tell me all about, in 4 cards, what happened with Terrance Woods Jr. October 5th, 2018. Tell me about Terrance Woods Jr., who was born October 24th, 1991, who disappeared October 5th, 2018. Tell me about Terrance Woods Jr. Tell me about Terrance Woods Jr. Tell me about Terrance Woods Jr., who was born October 24th, 1991, who disappeared October 5th, 2018. Tell me about Terrance Woods Jr. in 4 cards. Okay. All right. Life was very difficult for him during this journey, and I feel like it was difficult, period. Now, we have 2 death cards that came out. This death means a financial death, the loss of money and material. Okay. We're going to elaborate on that. And this is a 12th house death. Okay. This could be the loss of his vision. This can literally be talking about a person who gave up. Not necessarily committed suicide, but just gave up, just lost hope, lost vision. There is an enemy that came out in the 7th house. The 7th house is the house of relationships. There are many kinds of relationships. This relationship right here is an enemy. Terrance Woods Jr. had an enemy. We all have enemies. But this involved his direct enemy. The 7th house is the direct enemy. The 12th house represents hidden enemies. And the hidden enemy is not just limited to a person. Drugs can be a hidden enemy. Alcoholism can be a hidden enemy. Where people feel like, well, there's nothing wrong with my alcoholism. But yet alcohol is the root of all their problems. All of their employment losses, all of their marital losses, all of their financial losses, things of that nature. That's when alcoholism is a hidden enemy. Your addictions. Then it was a 6th house challenge. And the 6th house event came out of the other deck. These are both employment cards. Okay? This is the workforce. This is who he was working with, the team he was with. There were some challenges that Terrance encountered on that team at that work. Let's pull the charts so we can connect the dots. Terrance Woods Jr. was born October 24th, 1991. On that day, the sun was in Scorpio and the moon was in Taurus. And when you put a Taurus moon in Scorpio's house, which is the 8th house, Libra comes first. Libra is the partner. It rules the 7th house of relationships. And, Terrance had an enemy. We know what kind of relationship and partnership this was. An enemy. Now let's follow this enemy. In the 7th house, you see Aries. This is a 7th house chart because Libra comes first. Libra is the 7th sign of the zodiac. And whatever sign comes first represents the chart. The chart is the entire house. These numbers in the chart are houses too, but they could be more considered like rooms. So if you look in the 7th room, which is also the 7th house as well, you will see Aries. Aries rules the 1st house. Aries house. Everything in red represents whose house it is. Everything in black represents who's there. Aries is the direct And when the energy of direction is in the seventh house, this is a direct enemy, just like I said. So let's follow this direct enemy by following Mars, and then we're going to follow Venus. Why? Because Aries rules Mars, and Aries is in Libra's house, and Libra rules Venus, the relationship. Mars is going to tell us about the confrontation. Mars in Terrance's chart, because this is Terrance's birth chart. We didn't get to the disappearance chart yet. Mars in Terrance Wood's chart is in Scorpio. And Scorpio is in Terrance's second house of money. And we do know Scorpio is the energy of death. It rules the eighth house. But Scorpio is in the house of money. And in Scorpio's house of death, you see Taurus, which is the energy of money. Terrance suffered a financial loss. That even came out. The second house death. And remember, I told you, this is the death of finances, a financial death. This is exactly what this card is and what Taurus is in the eighth house. Now, where's Terrance at in his birth chart? He's a Scorpio. Look where he's at. Right here in the second house. Right along with this second house death. So Terrance was directly connected to his money. He was not playing about his money. Something happened where he suffered a financial loss that played a big role in his disappearance. Let's pull Terrance's disappearance chart. Terrance disappeared October 5th, 2018. On that day, the sun was in Libra, the relationship partner, the enemy. And the moon was in Leo. Let's pull a chart of when the moon in Leo is in Libra's house, which is the seventh house. When Leo is in the seventh house, which is Libra's house, Aquarius comes first. Aquarius is the group, the team, the organization that he was working with. Why is Aquarius coming first? This is an 11th house chart. Where was Aquarius at in Terrance's birth chart? Aquarius is right here in the 5th house. That's Leo's house. And the moon was in Leo the day Terrance disappeared. So what is one of the group members doing in the house of romance and celebrations? The 5th house is Leo's house. That's a house of romance. Children. I don't know if Terrance had children. But the 5th house is also the house of celebration. This is a house of romance. So I don't know who was on this 12-person team. And I don't know if it was all males or all females or both. But I see a romantic involvement with one of Terrance's team members. Where's Leo at? Leo, the day Terrance disappeared, is in the house of relationships, where the direct enemy came from. This direct enemy that was ruled by Aries was also a romantic partner. This was about a romantic experience that Terrance Woods had with one of his team members. Now let's follow Mars. Like I said, Mars was in Scorpio, which had a lot to do with Terrance's financial loss. The day Terrance disappeared, look where Mars is at. Aquarius. You can't make this up. Mars was in Aquarius, the very sign that comes first, the group member. Terrance was attacked by the team. Clear and cutthroat. Now, Uranus rules Aquarius. Where was Uranus at that day? Uranus was in Taurus. Taurus is right here in Terrance's house of death, the financial loss. Where's Taurus at in this chart? Right here in the fourth house. A fourth house card came out. Place. The fourth house. He was trying to come home early. I don't know if he needed funds. And if he didn't have the funds to get home, maybe something happened with his funds, with him trying to get home, or maybe something happened that had nothing to do with him going home, but it had everything to do with his funds. And when it happened, that's when he realized it's time for me to go home. Now, in the house of death, because we know Terrance is missing, but we don't know if he's dead or not. So let's follow the starting point of his disappearance. In his chart, the starting point of his disappearance is always the 12th house of every chart. The starting point of Terrance's disappearance was at work. Virgo is the energy of work. He disappeared from work. That's the truth. Now let's see where Virgo is the day he disappeared. Look at Virgo right there in the house of death. Terrance Woods Jr. is dead, unfortunately. Now let's get to the bottom of this. Terrance Woods is dead. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now let's get down to the bottom of what happened. This was a work-related death. Do you see it? And it involved the team. Now, Uranus was in Taurus, the financial loss. That had a lot to do with his home, where he came from. Either somebody that helped him from home or that was trying to help him get home. But look at where Uranus is in Terrance's energy. Uranus is in Capricorn. And Capricorn is the ending point of Terrance's disappearance. The starting point was Virgo. And we know that Terrance's starting point of his disappearance landed in the house of death. Now look at the end point of his disappearance. Capricorn is the father figure. But Capricorn is also the boss. Now the reason why I brought up the father figure first is because there is a fourth house card that came out. The home. The fourth house place is somebody's home. Now, I don't know if the father was involved or not. I'm just reading the cards as they come out. This could also be the boss. Let's follow the end point of Terrance's disappearance, which ended in Capricorn. It began in Virgo, and Virgo landed, his disappearance ended in Capricorn, with the Virgo energy of work landing in the house of death. This is how we know that Terrance Woods is dead. Now, let's follow this Capricorn individual by following Saturn. That day, Saturn was actually in Capricorn, right here. This is the authority figure. And remember, I told you, Capricorn, the 12th house, is the house of the hidden enemy. Remember, the 7th house is the house of direct enemies, in your face enemies. The 12th house is the house of hidden enemies. And in the 12th house, I see death. Could this be the death of his father or his boss? Or Capricorn represents the death of his status, his career. Capricorn is the energy of status and career, and it rules the 10th house. I believe this was the death of his career status. In the 10th house, look what you see. Scorpio. That's where Mars was. when we located Mars, which was the direct enemy that told us, that attacked his finances in the house of money. And look where this attack of his money landed. In the 10th house of his career. So not only was this a loss of his money, but this was a loss of his career. And the 10th house event came out. This was the event. The deformation of his career. He was taking a loss. Now this first house person came out in reverse. A team member that represented foul play. What was the nature of this team member? Let's look in Aquarius's house, which is the 11th house. In Aquarius's house, I see Sagittarius. This was a foreign team member. According to his father, the whole team was foreigners. Terrance was the only black male on his team. So let's follow this foreign team by following Sagittarius and Jupiter. Where was Sagittarius at in Terrance's chart? Sagittarius is right here in the 3rd house. This was an interaction, a direct interaction with this team member. Look in the 3rd house the day it happened. You see Aries. He had a direct confrontation with the enemy. You see? He had a direct interaction with the enemy. This was an argument, a confrontation that led to his loss of finances and the death of his career. Maybe he got into it with his boss. That's what I'm seeing. Now, we know what Mars did. The damage that Mars did was financial loss in his career. Let's look at Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, the group member. But this was a group member. Hold up. Jupiter. Right, because I was just about to say this is a group member that was in a position of authority. So it could have been his supervisor. Why? Look at where Jupiter was the day he disappeared. Jupiter was in Scorpio right here in the 10th house of bosses and career. That's who. Look at that. I think one of these group members got promoted. And Terrance had an altercation with them. And the shit went left. All of that Terrance ran to go to the bathroom. Fuck all of that. That did not happen. That did not happen. I think Terrance crossed paths verbally. He confronted something that made shit go left with him. There was an argument. There was a confrontation. There was no running down a hill and the team chasing him. None of that. There was an altercation that took place. Yeah. And they took matters in their own hands. And they bodied Terrance. They killed Terrance. That's what happened. Jupiter was in Scorpio. The power of authority that was hidden. Jupiter in Terrance's chart is in Virgo. You cannot make this up. The co-worker from work that started his disappearance was the one that killed him. Because that was a co-worker in a position of authority. A foreigner in a position of authority. Boston found. Where is the body of Terrance Woods Jr.? Where is the body of Terrance Woods Jr., who was born October 24th, 1991, who disappeared October 5th, 2018? Where is the body of Terrance Woods Jr.? This stuff makes me angry, y'all. Where is the body of Terrance Woods Jr.? Where's the body of Terrance Woods Jr. In a building south of where he was last seen. His body is in a building south of where he was last seen. His body is in a building south of where they was last seen. I believe that because they surveyed that whole remote area where they were working at. They didn't find anything because it didn't even happen right there. Terrance was killed in another location. He wasn't killed anywhere near that remote area, and that's not where he disappeared at. Terrance never made it out to that remote area. Terrance's body is in a building south of where he was last seen at. South of the location where they said he was. I also see that a co-worker tried to come on to Terrance. I also see that. And I see that Terrance stood up for himself. That's that Leo energy, that romantic energy. One of the co-workers. Now, if it's not that, then this was about a romantic experience that he did have with a co-worker. But he also got into it with a co-worker. Because see, that's what this card is, this challenge. And see, in the 6th house, I see Pisces. Pisces rules the 12th house. Pisces is the energy of the enemy. The hidden enemy. Not the direct enemy, the hidden enemy. Neptune rules Pisces. Terrance's Neptune is in Capricorn. Right here. Which was the boss, the one in the position of authority that was hiding. That's also the one that's hiding his body. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. They need to question that team. It's that somebody on his team in a position of authority. Yeah, somebody on his team in a position of authority done fucked with Terrance's money. And Terrance had to say so. At least he tried to. They tried to play with his money. They tried to play him. And he confronted that shit. And they ganged up on him. Because Mars was in Aquarius that day. Mars is the assassin. And it was a group of them that took him out. Virgo is the energy of sanitation. When it comes in the house of death. This is also a death due to medication. But this is also a death due to sanitation. A work-related death as well. So his body could be in a plastic bag, in a building. Even if it's not in a plastic bag, it's hidden in a building south of that location. That's my reading on Terrance Woods Jr. And I'm sticking to it. Yeah, that's my reading and I'm sticking to it. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my investigations. Rest in peace to Terrance Woods Jr.